Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here and welcome to another video. Now the last time we saw Alexa Bliss in WWE, it's safe to say she had a mini meltdown. Well actually that's a massive understatement. She had a major meltdown. She was distraught, livid even. Because of course not only did she lose her matchup against Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's title at Extreme Rules, she also had her much beloved Lily doll destroyed, ruined by none other than Charlotte Flair herself. And at the conclusion of that match, you kind of agreed with Charlotte. She was like, look, this gimmick, this association with Lily, I want to forget about it. I want to talk about the old Alexa. The Alexa Bliss that was a champion. The goddess version of Alexa, which we all loved. Now, yes, there was a point, a time and place where that got a little bit stale. And it's easy to forget how excited we were when she had that whole association with Bray Wyatt. When that came alive, everyone was absolutely all over it. Because initially they were booking that quite well. But since then, in this darker gimmick, 0 belts. Multiple women's champion in her previous gimmick. So she's got a point. And she was basically making a point that the Alexa she was wrestling, there were points where she saw flashbacks to that old version of Alexa. And of course, from that point, we haven't seen Alexa Bliss in WWE since. Now we know in real life, Lexi has had a sinus surgery operation, which we believe has already happened. So she's recovering and a return is pending. Very, very soon. Could be weeks, could be days, could be months, could be not until next year. Could be the Royal Rumble she comes back. However, I did get thinking a little bit when the whole Becky Lynch Charlotte Flair matchup at Survivor Series was announced. Of course, the multi-title match, Raw Women's title and the SmackDown Women's title, and of course Becky and Charlotte against one another. And I think this is great because there was that whole awkward fiasco with the belts when they swapped belts. The argument was, did Charlotte Flair drop the belt on purpose? Was that off script? And as a result, Becky just shoved the belt back at Charlotte. So I'm intrigued for that matchup. However, look at it logically. Becky's not going to lose clean. Charlotte's not going to lose clean. So there's going to be some form of distraction, interference, some cheap ending at the end, no doubt. Now, Alexa Bliss, since she's been away from WWE, has been drafted to Raw, or should we say remaining on Raw. And Charlotte Flair since then has moved to SmackDown and is now the SmackDown Women's Champion, okay? And it's quite confusing actually, because the last time Bliss and Flair fought, it was for the Raw Women's title. Technically that still is, but they swapped the belts, so she's now SmackDown Women's Champion, okay? So Alexa Bliss, technically being exclusive to Raw, can't go after Charlotte Flair to get revenge. And WWE would probably like us to forget about that previous encounter. However, if we're thinking about this logically, Alexa Bliss should get some form of revenge on Charlotte Flair. Now that can logically happen. It can happen once a year at Survivor Series because of course this is multi-brand. So she can come and get a revenge, return at Survivor Series and destroy Charlotte Flair. And it's a legitimate finish. It's a legitimate reason why you could have Becky Lynch go over Charlotte Flair, win that match via some form of distraction from Alexa Bliss, whatever that may be. And it is interesting because this could be a debut of a new, darker, more sinister turn to Alexa Bliss's character. Now, if I had it my way, I'd book it like this. I'd have a goddess version of Alexa Bliss. It's kind of like the happy-go-lucky version. A little bit different to what we saw in the past, which is more of a heel, snotty-nosed version. So it's kind of like the pretty, kind of almost princess kind of vibes version of Alexa Bliss. You know, butter wouldn't melt in her mouth sort of thing. And then, on the other side, you got the Lily doll. A masked version, where it could be a painted masked version, because Alexa Bliss's facial expressions are so good. I think it would be a shame to cover up her face with a mask. But either way, some form of evolution of the Lily doll into human form. And you could see that could be a special attraction. We only see it at pay-per-views or major matchups. And I'd be up for that. Now, I know it's so similar to Bray Wyatt, but look, let's just accept the fact that Vince isn't going to go away from this type of gimmick. He's making far too much money. And he, quite frankly, doesn't care about Bray Wyatt. Lexi has said publicly that she's really enjoying and having fun working this darker gimmick, so why would she stop doing it? It's so popular amongst the younger generation as well. And you've got to remember, Alexa Bliss attracts a lot of younger followers. She's got over 5 million followers on Instagram. She's been promoting this Lilly doll and people are lapping it up. People are loving it, especially, as I said, that younger generation. They're moving a lot of merch, selling a ton. So why would they stop that? They're gonna continue that in some form, I would say. Now, what do you think? What do you think is gonna happen with Alexa Bliss? How's she gonna return? When do you think she could return? But to attack Charlotte Flair and leave it at that for a little while, in this new dark, sinister version of Lilly, I'm up for that. It makes sense. It's actually following through a storyline. We're not getting the whole situation at WrestleMania 37, where you see the debut of this Sister Abigail-esque version of Alexa Bliss with an amazing headpiece, amazing props, and then no follow through. It's like it didn't even exist. In WWE, have a habit of doing that. The likelihood that they'll probably just re-debut the Goddess gimmick and get us to forget about the whole Lilly gimmick entirely. But in theory, she should get revenge on Charlotte Flair, and she's got an opportunity at Survivor Series. She can do it. Now, talking about the whole link between Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, we've got to call him that now, of course, because he's no longer with WWE, is creating a feature horror movie, if rumours are true. How cool is that? I was wondering what he was going to do, and I did think temporarily it makes sense. I mean, he was spotted at the Warner Studios in Hollywood alongside Jason Baker, so of course those two have hooked up. They're very close friends, apparently. Understandably, you know, working an amazing gimmick like The Fiend, you would be. And kudos to them. I can't wait to see what happens. Of course, speculation is gonna, you know, all these rumours are gonna start spreading. Oh, he's not going to AEW now. He's not going to debut at Full Gear. You can't write that off. He could still do both, but for the time being, it looks like he's going to be pursuing some Hollywood roles, which is great. I mean, what better place for him to go, really, to be honest with you? The amount of times people would say he deserves to be in Hollywood. He deserves to be. He's such a creative genius. And I'm excited to see where he goes. But I am actually genuinely excited to see what they do with Alexa Bliss. I actually am. I think they can get this right. They can hit the reset button. And the moment they put the strap on her in a new gimmick, it's going to be massively over. Like, people love Alexa Bliss. And to be honest with you, they could book her as badly as they did with that whole coffee gimmick, and people still love her. So, yeah, be interesting to see what happens. Could it be as close as Survivor Series? Who knows? Thank you so much for watching the video. It'd be awesome if you could like the video, subscribe, share the video about, and turn the bell icon on also as well for notifications. You get notified every time a video comes up. That'd be awesome. Always appreciate your support. Always appreciate your comments. Some of you have got some such detailed comments about I love the history of WWE. So firing some history out there. I'm all over that. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Take care. Stay safe.